The word generational is used far too often in the modern game. Every season, each club has a player come through the ranks with great potential, put some decent performances together, and is branded generational by fans of that club and overrated by rival supporters. Well, 99 times out of 100, they're both incorrect. Sometimes a young player can just be a good young player with potential. Imagine that. However, there is the odd occasion when one player makes it through the academy ranks and it looks absolutely certain that that player will go on to be one of the best in the world at some stage in his career. Think of Lionel Messi's first goal for Barcelona against Albacete, Wayne Rooney's hat-trick against Fenerbahce in the UEFA Champions League during his first game for Manchester United, Pele's brace in the 1958 World Cup final when he was just 17 years of age, and Freddie Adu scoring his first professional goal in Major League Soccer when he was merely 14. 3 of those went on to become some of the best players of their generation. I'll let you decide which 3 I'm talking about. However, now there is a new breed of incredible talent rising to the top of the football food chain. I'm Adam from Football Continental, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the 5 most generational football players in Europe in 2024. As a disclaimer, there will be no players aged 20 or above in this video because the likelihood is that they've been playing for at least 2 to 3 seasons. So there will be no Alejandro Garnachos, no Antonio Silvas, Jude Bellinghams, Pedris, Gavis, Jesse Lingards.
With Jesse Lindegaard.
And please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content from Football Continental. So now, let's get into it. Starting with number 5, when you think of Paris Saint-Germain, you may think of a team with more money than sense. A club that have thrown cash at some of the best players in the world, but still can't bring home the one trophy they are missing from their cabinet, the old big ears. And no, I'm not talking about Gareth Bale. In recent seasons, PSG have spent copious amounts of money on the likes of Gigi Donnarumma, Sergio Ramos, Neymar, Kylian Mbappe, Angel Di Maria, and of course, Lionel Messi. However, did you know just how good the club's academy is? Names such as Kingsley Coman, Nicolas Anelka, Mike Maignan, Adrien Rabiot, Christopher Nkunku, Wilson Odobert, Xavi Simons, and Moussa Diaby have all emerged from PSG's esteemed youth system. Yet, very few have actually gone on to play regular first-team football for the French Giants. But one player who has managed to leap above the cash-laden dust is Warren Zaire-Emery. The youngster was such a crucial part of PSG's success over the past 2 seasons that people forget he just turned 18 in March. In fact, at just 18 he has already played 53 times for the Ligue 1 champions, including 43 appearances last season under Luis Enrique. Subsequently, this earned him his first call-up to the French national team back in November 2023 when he was just 17 years of age. In fact, he was the youngest player in 109 years to earn a call-up to the French national team, beating the likes of Thierry Henry, Zinedine Zidane, Kylian Mbappe, Patrick Vieira and Michel Platini, as well as every other sensational French footballer over the past century. No pressure then. Despite being so young, he has an incredibly calming influence in the middle of the park, hence why Luis Enrique and national team manager Didier Deschamps have put so much trust in him at such a young age. And the best part is, he was absolutely free. Imagine that, PSG, you can get players from your academy system and they don't cost you 100,000 billion. PSG have unearthed an absolute gem, and finally they have been the ones to discover this talent without selling him to another club and letting that club do it for them. He is this good at 18 and is already one of the best midfielders in France. Imagine what he'll be like in 4 to 5 years. Zaire-Emery is undoubtedly a generational talent, and being the man to finally help PSG bring home the coveted UEFA Champions League title may solidify his status as one of the best in the world in the very near future. Or else he'll go to Real Madrid and replace a 67-year-old Luka Modric and do it anyway in a year's time. Probably. Terrifying. Now let's get on to number 4. Chances are, despite him just turning 18 and having yet to play a single minute of football for Real Madrid, you've probably already heard the name Endrick. There is also a strong possibility that you already know some of the more well-known facts about Endrick, including that he scored 95 million billion goals by the time he was 6 months old, as well as his absolute fascination with the late Sir Bobby Charlton, despite Sir Bobby hanging up his boots 33 years before the Brazilian was even born. However, when Real Madrid dip into the Brazilian market, you know they mean business. The signing of Endrick was a long one in the making, as the European champions acquired his signature from his boyhood club Palmeiras back in December 2022 for a figure of around 70 million euros, under the caveat that he would remain at Palmeiras to continue his development until the summer of 2024, and of course that time is now. Upon his arrival at the Estadio Santiago Bernabéu, he comes as an already established player who is now coming into his 4th professional season. In his first 3 seasons, he managed to score 21 goals in 82 matches and has even bagged 3 times in 10 games for Brazil's national team. Again, he is only 18 and has yet to kick a football for Real Madrid in a professional game. He also became the first player since Ronaldo in 1994, not this one, to earn a call-up to the Brazilian national team, and is the youngest player in 57 years to make his debut for the country. Then he decided to prove his worth on the international stage, scoring his first international goal for the Brazil national team against Gareth Southgate's England. At Wembley, nonetheless. Again, just to remind you, he is still playing for Palmeiras at this point and has yet to play a single game for Real Madrid. Endrick's future is as bright as the moonlight shining on Pep Guardiola's bald head, and it's only a matter of time before he makes his mark in the Spanish capital, following in the footsteps of the likes of Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo, who have done the same in recent seasons. The only issue facing Endrick right now is the sheer quality ahead of him in the pecking order. The aforementioned Vinny Jr. and Rodrigo are far above him in the running order currently, before we even mention the likes of new signing Kylian Mbappe, Brahim Diaz, Jude Bellingham, and another rising star who could well have been on this list, Arda Güler. Nevertheless, Real Madrid would not have spent so much of the European Union's finest currency without a plan in place for Endrick to eventually become an integral part of their never-ending success in the near future. With time on his side, Endrick may easily become one of the best players in Europe by the time the 2020s come to a close. Now for number 3, and unlike number 5, this player joined Paris Saint-Germain for a lot of money, having been linked with clubs such as Manchester United after some superb displays in Portugal. João Neves eventually moved to the French capital for a fee of around €59 million or £50 million. Unlike some on this list though, the 2023-24 campaign wasn't Neves' first rodeo. He made his first team debut for Benfica during the 2022-23 season and played a helping hand in the side's first league title win in 4 years and their first trophy win in 4 years to be exact. Then in the 2023-24 season, Neves became one of the first names on Roger Schmidt's team sheet and played 55 times in all competitions for the Lisbon Giants, and even earned a call-up to the Portugal national team. Subsequently, his impressive displays for Benfica even earned him a spot in Roberto Martinez's squad for Euro 2024, although he didn't feature as much as he would have liked in Germany. Small in stature but with a wide build and an innate keenness to win the ball back, just like your dog chasing a blue bottle fly around the house, Neves' departure from Benfica was always likely. Despite the club failing to retain their title, Neves earned the Primeira Liga's Midfielder of the Month award 5 times last season, which is 5 times in a 10-month season. Incredible. And he was also selected in the competition's Team of the Year. Now, PSG have a midfield which includes Neves, the aforementioned Zaire-Emery, Carlos Soler, Vitinha, and Euros winner Fabian Ruiz, which isn't bad depth. Neves is already one of the greatest water carriers in European football at the moment, but his ability on the ball is also astounding. He can dribble past a player, hit you from 40 yards, play it simple, change the tempo of a game, and even score the odd goal. With him at the base alongside Zaire-Emery and Vitinha or Fabian Ruiz, PSG's midfield may be unstoppable in Europe and in France this season. Now, in at number 2, I can't add anything about this player that hasn't been mentioned already. Picture this scenario. Everton have just been deducted points by the Premier League for breaching profit and sustainability rules, and had a big game against Manchester United on the horizon at Goodison Park. Man United were on a rocky run of form, and injuries were stacking up, while Everton fans were out for blood and would stage a very public and noisy protest towards the Premier League's officials during that freezing November day. Throwing an 18-year-old into that atmosphere would be like swapping the captain of the Titanic for a newborn dog. It would probably have had the same result, but it just would have been a little bit sadder. Well, this is exactly what Erik ten Hag did upon United's first of 2 trips to Merseyside by the end of 2023, when he put Kobbie Mainoo alongside Scott McTominay in the midfield at Goodison Park due to the absence of Casemiro. It was sink or swim time for the youngster, but it turns out he's Michael Phelps. Mainoo dominated in the middle of the park with an ease and carelessness that Man United fans haven't seen since the days of Michael Carrick. Then the rest was history. Mainoo would go on to be one of the first names on Erik ten Hag's team sheet for the remainder of the campaign, proving his worth in matches against Liverpool at Anfield, Liverpool at Old Trafford, and even scored the winning goal for Manchester United in their FA Cup final redemption over bitter rivals Manchester City. On top of this, he was selected by Gareth Southgate as part of England's Euro 2024 squad, which reached the final, beating the titans of Serbia, Slovakia and Switzerland en route to the final in Berlin. While he wasn't a key player under Southgate, he still put in a sensational display against the Netherlands in the semis and even started the final. Putting this into context, approximately 1 year before the Euros final, Mainoo was named as part of Manchester United's under-21 squad, who played a pre-season friendly against non-league side Gainsborough Trinity, which is a pretty good example of how quickly he rose to the top of the football food chain. Within these 12 months, his market value, according to Transfermarkt, rose from €800,000 to 55 million. And he has already carried his impressive displays over to the new season. In Man United's first Premier League game against Fulham, which was a 1-0 win at Old Trafford, Mainoo was arguably the best player on the pitch, despite not playing a single pre-season game for the club. He won the most duels, had the most interceptions, the most take-ons, and won the most fouls. And he's not 20 until the end of April. Already being compared to the likes of Zinedine Zidane and Clarence Seedorf, it's very difficult not to see Mainoo as one of the best players or midfielders in Europe in just a few years' time. And finally, we could try and rile up Barcelona fans by putting someone else as number 1, but having been there recently, they are a nice people. When Lionel Messi left as a free agent back in 2021, it looked as though the Nou Camp was about to fall to pieces. And if you've been to it recently, it actually looks like it has. But 3 years later, after stifling through the likes of Adama Traore, Ferran Torres, Rafinha, Youssouf Demir and Antoine Griezmann, the club have finally found the heir to Lionel Messi's throne. Even if Lamine Yamal becomes half the player the Argentine is or was, La Blaugrana will be doing very, very well. When Messi announced his departure from the Catalan Giants, Yamal had just turned 14 years of age. 3 years later, he is already one of the best wingers in world football, let alone Europe, and now is a European champion. Diving deeper into this record, Yamal is currently the youngest player to start a game in La Liga and the Champions League, the youngest to provide an assist in both La Liga and the Champions League, the youngest player to score a goal in La Liga, the youngest player to play in El Clasico, the youngest player to appear at the Euros, the youngest player to appear in a Euros final, and most recently, the youngest to ever win an international tournament, beating the great Pelé by 248 days, a record which has stood since 1958. 66 years ago. He can dribble, he can score, he can assist, he's intelligent, he's dangerous, he's exciting, he gets bums off seats, and he's just 17 years of age. By the year 2030, he will be just 22 years of age. I'll repeat that if you didn't quite get the sheer ridiculousness of that stat. By the year 2030, 6 years from now, he will be just 22 years of age, which is literally older than I am now. I hate my life. And that's our list for the top 5 generational players in Europe right now. If you agree with us, please make sure to hit that like button and do subscribe. And if you don't agree with me, I don't care, fight me. Until next time, I've been Adam from Football Continental. Thanks for watching.